Okay, welcome. So we are looking at different types of, or different ways of programming drums. Now this one's a little bit more involved, but only a little bit. And it exploits or uses a particular way of programming drums that can be described as XOX, XOX. So XOX style type programming, we see it in a lot in kind of trackers. So XOX basically means, an X is an on and a 0 or an O is off. So something is playing and something is not. And basically the sort of pattern maker essentially looks at whether something is an X or a not and either plays something or doesn't, right? Whilst keeping it kind of ticking over. Now, as we will see sort of later, this is really a way of programming that's Sarah Davis, DJ Dave, that we will look at a little bit later in the session, makes use of this way of actually programming things. Now, what we've got are basically, we've got the tempo at the top. We have a live loop which acts as a kind of a metronome, so met. And then we have this thing called a define. Now, we've not really looked at defines yet, but the define here, this is called pattern do. So it's pretty much like a live loop, except the define is going to do something. So we pass pattern, a pattern of something. So these are like patterns here, right? So you're using the computer for its or the program for its pattern matching abilities. What it does is that it returns a pattern in a ring. Wherever there's an X, it forms them into a ring. So what we have here, you can see in this one down here in terms of the kick drum. So one of the ways that you might want to do it is basically block it out into groups of 4. So it's a combination of dashes. So the dash is like the O in XOX, XOX. So that's the O. And then the X is obviously the X. So an X basically means wherever there's an X, you play. And once you've set up your pattern, say for your kick drum, you can close off the spaces. Oops, wrong one. So in many ways, your kind of eye has to get used to the idea of seeing the pattern. So for some people, this works really well, more so than, say, the previous methods that we were using, where we're using kind of sleeps to sort of define it. Because here, the sleep doesn't change. What defines what plays is actually the pattern that we have here, the X's and dashes. The sorts of things that I would do would then be like, what would happen if we made the XOX sort of 1 beat shorter for the hi-hats? Or what's it like if we made it 1 beat longer? And let's say that we just have it at sort of working in 3s. Now the thing is having this kind of approach, much like some of the other ones that we've looked at, allows for other types of thinking, other types of working on patterns, other types of kind of playing around with things that are not dependent necessarily on the human skill to play something back, right? So you can do something, you can sort of go, likewise, we can go, what's it like if the hi-hats were in 5s, right? So you got 2 dashes, an X, 2 dashes. Or what's it like if it's 2 dashes, 2 X's, 1 dash, right? 3 X's. Or only 2 and 2. Or as only 1 dash but 3 X's. Right? So it takes a little bit of time. I don't think it's, particularly difficult, but it just takes a little bit of time just to kind of orientate yourself to using this. Now, as we go through more and more patterns or more different flavors of doing stuff, you're going to have to make decisions about which method might kind of speak, or which method or methods might speak to you and resonate with the sort of music that you're doing. Okay, until next time.